Testing 1, 2. Good. Welcome, folks. We are at the City Hall Consul Chambers, City of Marshalltown. Address is 10 West State Street. Today's date is December 13, 2021. The time is 5:30 p.m. And I need to read a notice to the public as follows: that the mayor and council welcome comment from the public during discussion of any of the agenda items. You are required to step to the mic, state your name and address for the record, limit your time used to present your remarks to 3 minutes or less so that others may be given an opportunity to speak. When you speak, please speak clearly, direct your comments to the mayor and council and not to any councilor specifically. It's at the discretion of the mayor and council to respond to those questions and comments or to have staff respond during the meeting. Now that we've been called to order, would those able please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Gowdy.
Here.
Hoop.
Here.
Isom.
Here.
Lottie-Hoff.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Weirin. Here.
Very good, thank you. It's time for mayor, council, and administrator comments. We did have some people to be recognized for board service and commission service. And at this time, let me mention those people. We just had a nice gathering here at 4:30, and we presented these things for the people that hit those watermarks in 2020, since we weren't able to have a celebration for them, and also 2021. Those included Kelly Thurston, 5 years of service on the Zoning Board of Adjustment and a couple other boards. Matt Tullis, 5 years of service on Park and Rec Advisory Board. Merrill Price, 15 years of service, starting with the Sidewalk Committee, and it ended up being our volunteer nuisance officer extraordinaire. Mike Gowdy, 15 years of service. He'll be seated at the next meeting for his years of service on the council, but he's also been a volunteer on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Marshall County Solid Waste, and also helping fundraise next door here at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Karen Shipley, 20 years of service on the Housing Appeals Board. Alan Thorson, 20 years with the library. John Boston, 40 years, 4 decades on planning and zoning. He even started earlier than that when they first got computers. He was telling me in 1978 he helped the city go computer. Now, those of you that were old enough to remember when that happened, that was pretty early on. So he brought his expertise over from Fisher Controls for that. John Malstad, Jerry Young, 5 years and 15 years of service. Mary Stevens for 20 years of service. We also had Chris Brodeen, Tina Eubanks, Kurt Lynch, and Gary McKibben on Housing Appeals, the first 3, and Gary McKibben on the Investment Committee. Dave Schultz, 15 years of service on the Board of Adjustment, 25 years of service. Beverly Espenscheid on the Housing Appeals Board. We had some people that aged off the Fisher Governor Commission: Paul Gregory, Carol Hibbs, Mike Mason, Dave Clark, and Cynthia Ragland. Pastor Davison was our person that ran he was the chair of the Human Rights Commission for many, many years. And so we had a nice celebration for them. If I missed anybody, catch me up, Madam Administrator. Oh, I missed Judith Lindholm, also on the Library Board of Trustees, and her special recognition is that she's not from Marshalltown. Years ago, they determined they needed somebody who was not a Marshalltown resident, but was a Marshall County resident, and she served in a leadership role on that one as well. So I wanted to recognize those people and thank them for their years of service. Would any of the councilors like to address us about anything of note?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Martin.
I'd like to stand for this one. Last Wednesday, I attended the YSS recognition for their volunteers. The mayor did as well. The city was honored, and I certainly was pleased for that, but I went on my own to recognize YSS. They presented to me for the council the certificate of appreciation. You know that we've had significant funding to start off YSS, and I'm proud of that endeavor as well. And so I present that to the council. I also have with me to present their Creating Connections, which is their 2021 impact report. The large group at the library got to hear 2 of the recipients of YSS services, and that truly was impressive. So with that, I present these materials to the mayor and the council.
That was quite an event. It was well attended, and if anybody here doesn't know that YSS impact program with the police, it's the template for the rest of the state. It's going very well here in Marshalltown, and that was just fun. Thank you. Jessica.
Yes, so many of you know, some in the room were in attendance last Friday morning as we launched what is the first big element of our marketing campaign that we're funding this year. We have been working with Vision Marshalltown and On Media, and the first thing that we were able to produce was this 30-second commercial. That I thought this would be a great time to air that so that everybody could see what we have put together, and hopefully it builds the same pride in you that it has inspired in me and others. So I'll let it roll. So that is our first commercial. It is currently airing on Mediacom. I don't know if there was anybody in Monday Night Football game last week who caught this commercial towards the end of the game, but it was on. And so you'll start seeing it on your Mediacom channels, as well as starting to pop up in some other different areas as well. We're doing what we can to push this out as far as we can, because this does have a great representation of Marshalltown and who we are, and building, again, that continued pride and reputation as Marshalltown more than ever. So this is the first step that we have. We will have a few more things coming. We've already had a display ad that has been active on, like, basically through apps on your cell phone since September. And so we are looking forward to building a new one to launch in January. That's content that we need to keep changing up. So we're doing a full-fledged marketing campaign to help build that internal pride in the community and the things that we have to offer here in Marshalltown. So just wanted to share that with you tonight.
Thanks, Jessica. It was well attended, and they had representatives from the professional company helping on the logo and the advertising and getting the word out. If there's one fault we have in this city, it's that we don't recognize well enough just what a good thing we have going here, truly. And that was a good example on Monday. It's at that time now when I could call for a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Okay, would you read those for the record for us?
Approved minutes for the November 22nd meeting, and the bill list in the amount of $3,359,912.76. Reappoint Kelly Thurston to the Building Board of Appeals, a 5-year term, January 1st, 22 to January 1st, 27. Accept term dates for the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee for Kim Barnes and Justin Strom of December 31st, 2021, and the appointment of Wine Brothers and
Laurel Degalo for terms of January 1st, 22 to January 1st, 24. Approve liquor license renewals for the Impala Ballroom at 1005 West Lincoln Way, Supermarket Villa Chihuahua at 107 North Center Street, Opa Grill at 4 West Boone Street, Casey's General Store number 3228 at 916 East Main Street, the BPOE Lodge number 312 at 101 West Church Street. Approve September 2021 financial statements. Resolution transferring funds for fiscal year 22 through September 30th, 2021. Resolution accepting bid and authorizing the purchase of a Maxi 110A drum paint stripper for the price of $245,500 from MB Companies, Inc. for the use in the street department. Resolution approving contract change order number 5 for the hangar terminal and site improvements increase of $3,670.68. Resolution setting a date of meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with the Marshalltown Company, including annual appropriation tax increment payments. Resolution approving the Marshalltown Municipal Airport 5-year capital improvement program. Resolution to authorize the use of funds for hospitality at public events on December 13th and December 27th of 2021. Resolution approving an airport management contract with Marshalltown Aviation, Inc. Resolution approving the purchase of 68 West Main Street, Marshalltown, Iowa, at a cost of $20,000. Resolution to approve a 7-month extension of time to complete the facade grant work at 207 East Main Street.
Very good, thank you. And that saved us about an hour of time by doing that by consent. On to item G, motions. Would you tell us the first one?
Motion to approve a new Class C liquor license for El Cantarito Bar and Grill at 903 Lincoln Way.
I solicit a motion to approve that.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any discussion?
Your Honor, this is a new business that'll be opening. Previously, it was Plaza Mexico. They hope to open at the end of the month, so this is their application for their liquor license.
Very good. I see the Chief of Police is here. Sometimes he get asked if there's anything negative that we should know about this group. No? Good? Okay. Any other discussion up here or out in the public? Let's call the roll.
Thompson?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
No.
Isom?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
On to the next motion when able.
Motion to approve a Class E liquor license at Quick Star number 607 at 814 South 6th Street.
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Discussion on this one.
Yes, Your Honor. They have decided to upgrade from just a beer license to a full Class E liquor license. This is the new store on 6th Street.
You bet. I was in there just the other day. Man, it's quite an expanded store from their other one at that location. Any other discussion or comments by anybody? Roll call.
Martin?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Hoop?
No.
Isom?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. So did the last one. On to the third motion.
Motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 budget schedule, including a special meeting for January 31st, 2022.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Call for a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. Normally, we have several special meetings outside of our regular Monday night. But this year, the way the calendar falls, we really only need to have the special one on January 31st. Otherwise, we should make it through the regular schedule.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council for Diana or in general?
I want those who are new joining the council to know that that is a huge gift. Thank you. I would have really appreciated that, so I'm sure they will too.
Thank you.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have known it if you hadn't told them. It is nice to see the three incoming people here again tonight. I'll admit that 10 years ago when I was elected to serve on the city council, I didn't attend the meetings until I got sworn in. So I really do appreciate the fact that you're spending the time to do that. Any other public comment about this motion? Otherwise, we'll call for roll.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Gowdy?
Yes.
Good enough. That one carried as well. On to reports. We just have one of those. The update on Make Marshalltown Home program. John Hall.
Excellent. Good evening, Mayor and Council. John Hall with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and provide a brief update on the Make Marshalltown Home program. This slide is really just representative of all the facets of housing that we are thinking about and focusing on as we develop a full comprehensive housing plan, really keying in on the Make Marshalltown Home program, which affects our new single-family housing stock. So you guys are familiar with the program, $10,000 new home buyer assistance program for homes valued at $180,000 or greater. The goal is to raise $1 million for the program. You can see what we have raised to date. So we're just over $810,000 raised to date. We've really pressed a pause on raising additional dollars at this stage until we start to see some success generated in the program. That will help us to collect the remaining roughly $190,000. We feel confident that we'll get there and reach that as the program begins to take off. So to date, we have not yet received any applicants for the program. This is probably a product of a couple of different things. One, we did launch this in June, made a great splash, and then had a transition in leadership at our organization. And so me getting on the ground just after August, we started to do some initial marketing efforts, but it has not been to the degree that we really need to in order to make a difference with this. So this kind of gives you an idea on our marketing strategy going forward. So we already have a handful of radio ads live on KFJB. And are planning on launching an online digital marketing ad campaign starting in January. So we're partnering with the Times Republican to go live in January. We're really targeting people that are actively looking for a home, first-time home buyers and builders with this program. And so we're going to be focused on I've got the buzzwords of what it is, but it's contextual, site retargeting, and search keyword retargeting. Basically what it boils down to, if somebody's Google searching and let's say they're looking for homes in Marshalltown, or they go to Zillow and look at Marshalltown, we want to chase them with ads around the internet for a few days to make sure that they know about this program and that they're aware of it, so that if they do choose to buy here in Marshalltown and are considering or on that bubble about building new versus trying to find existing, that they've got one more reason to say yes to building new. So that's really all I've got as a report and update at this stage, but I'd welcome any questions.
Any from the counselors?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I guess the only question I had was around some of the funding, a little bit short. Any reasoning based off of the limited participation by our Marshall County Board of Supervisors, 18,000, superseded by quite a bit by private donations? I mean, how did they land on the 18,000? Was that the ask, or is that just what got approved through that?
So my understanding it is not what the ask was. I was not here when that conversation happened. Joe, do you wish to?
Just for, I guess, more public record than anything else, a little disappointing by the engagement and involvement from the county.
Sure. Sorry, Joe Carter, this year chair of the chamber, and was here speaking to you guys about this program. We asked for $250,000 from the county as well. Obviously, you guys know when we don't do tax abatement, which is the replacement for this, because we understand that we can get a lot more people who will be excited about taking the money up front, the $10,000 up front, rather than taking this. So same pitch to them. They get the benefit also of that tax abatement. Their discussion was as well, if we only have $180,000 was the minimum home, and from everything we can tell, we think homes are going to be built from $225,000 probably and up. That's the most likely target, we think, from the builders, what they're telling us. But the Board of Supervisors decided, with about a 9-minute discussion during their meeting, is that at $180,000, they would reap the benefits of not having the tax abatement, and then they were only willing to go for, and I don't remember now what the number of homes was, 12 homes, 15 homes, something like that. So they deliberated quite a while, but then ended up on a very small number. My guess is if we went back at them and said, hey, now that it's rolling and we can see this happening, and here's the cost of the homes that are coming into play. I think we could probably get more out of them because over the long haul, it's to their benefit. But they didn't want to go there and wouldn't commit to that. So great question, Gabe. We'd love to have more from them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abe. Anybody else with questions for John? Comments? Okay. Thanks very much for the report, John.
You bet. Thank you.
On to item I, starting to talk about resolutions. When able, read the first one for us, please.
Resolution accepting bid and authorizing the award of contract for the ADA sidewalk bid project number SDW 20002 in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa, and the amount of $515,389.50.
Would anybody like to move to approve that resolution?
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Discussion.
Heather Thomas, Public Works. We had 3 bids. Our estimate budgeted with a 10% contingency was about $553,000, so we are under our estimate there. The low bid was Boulder Contracting of Grundy Center, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Your Honor, if I
Yes,
may.
sir. You may.
Heather, have they done work for us before?
They have done work in the city, yes.
What have they done?
I can't answer that because most of my projects were previously, but they've done several work projects for myself outside of the city as well.
And you're happy with them?
I am.
Right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure. Anyone else have any questions on the Consul?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir. Ms. Martin.
question to you, Heather. Yeah, with the label of the ADA, does that include the connectors at the intersections, the walkways?
Yes. Yep, all of the intersections will have the truncated domes in ADA compliance with this project.
I wanted the public to be assured of that at this time, so
Yep.
thank you.
So, wait, stay there. So, this area, some of the target area is where the sewer project just happened, and
Yeah, it's at
continued
the very
into the
end
fall.
of it, right.
So can you give the timing of this? Is this gonna start after
Yep.
school is out, or?
Right. So you're speaking of the Fisher School Gap. There's 2 blocks of the Fisher School Gap that we've restricted to construction in the summer to avoid the school timeframe. Right now, the project you're talking about is the VEITH project for 4th and Meadowline Storm Sewer. They're anticipating 3 months of work in the spring, so we're hopeful that that sidewalk will be in prior to the sidewalk for Fisher Gap.
Okay, great, thank you.
Other consular questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll invite the public to comment on it. And not seeing anybody rushing to the mic, let's call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff.
Yes.
Very good. On to the next item.
Public hearing and resolution approving an airport fixed-base operation lease and fuel fee agreement with Marshalltown Aviation, Inc.
I'm supposed to, at the end of each vote like that, say for the record that last resolution did carry, and it did. I will now declare this public hearing is open on this issue at 5:53 p.m. Did you receive any written comments to the clerk's office?
No, Your Honor.
Next up is public comments. Anybody wish to comment? Seeing nobody rising for that purpose, it's on to staff review.
Heather Thomas, Public Works. This is for the FBO lease and fuel agreement with the airport. So this is the payment that Marshalltown Aviation makes to the city. It's for $28,000 annually for the FBO lease and 12 cents a gallon for fuel. And this is very similar to the information that we've talked about in previous meetings, so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I guess the next item actually is Consul comments, so if there are any questions of Heather or comments to make, now is the time to make them. Let's declare the public hearing is closed at just 5:54 p.m. and let's, if there's anybody like to make the motion that we approve this resolution, this would be a good time to do so.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Let's have the roll.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Thank you. Got another public hearing. What's that one?
Public hearing and resolution to approve urban renewal plan amendment for the Marshalltown Urban Renewal Area Number 2.
It's still 5:54 PM, but the public hearing is open. Did you get any written comments about it?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comments. Anybody wish to comment? Staff review for this one.
Yes, Your Honor. As a reminder, anytime that we go to add a project into an urban renewal plan, in order to proceed with the development agreement, we have to have a public hearing, and so that's what's happening tonight. We've talked about it over the last few meetings, and we are adding in a project to be able to do a development agreement with Marshalltown Company for an amount not to exceed $2.9 million. That will cover approximately $1.5 million worth of stormwater infrastructure in the area, and provide for them the tax abatement that they would have received over the second and third phase of their projects. So that would basically then allow us to, your action tonight would then allow us to take action on the public hearing and resolution for a development agreement at our next meeting.
Thank you. Any council comments or questions about this? Hearing and seeing none, I'll declare this public hearing is closed at 5:51 PM and entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. That one carried as well, and that will improve the water flow that has been a problem in that area. That will make it a lot more.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I did not call Lottiehoff's
Oh,
name.
you didn't.
I'm still here.
I'm just
Lottie
jumping the
Hoff?
gun. Sorry. You know, short as I am, I'm the one that's
I
accustomed to being
stopped.
overlooked all the time.
Is there something Mike needs to
Sorry
know?
about that. Sorry. We do have 2 closed meeting sessions after everything else is done, so it's maybe rushing it too much. And I apologize for telling you to speed read all the things too. There was actually a striper, not a stripper, that we were approving. But that's my fault for doing that. Okay, where was I? We were going to call the roll. We did call the roll.
For the next item.
Yeah, okay. It did pass. Well, it was a majority anyway. What the hell?
Public hearing and resolution approving plan specifications, form of contract, and costs for the Creekside Estates project in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa, being project number ECO 21004.
I wasted so much time on that. It's now 5:53 PM to declare that public hearing is open. Did you get any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Time for the public to comment. I'm not anticipating any. Don't see anybody rising. How about staff comments on this one?
Heather Thomas, Public Works. This is a project for a city street and a private partnership. This is for the development of a road to serve 16 duplexes and triplex townhomes. It will be bid as alternative, both an asphalt and a concrete option. The public-private cost share is a total construction cost of $788,000 to $825,000, depending if it goes asphalt or concrete. And that split between city and private's about 525 city and 300 private. We'll open bids on December 21st. Are there any questions?
Time for council questions or comments.
So this is, Your Honor, this is the one right along the Legion Golf Course, correct?
Yes.
So
Yep.
my son had a question on the way home
Okay.
today about the fence and who takes care of that fence. And I said, well, do you think the tearing down the trees part damaged the fence? And that's his opinion. I'm not really sure because I don't think it was clear to me anyway whether the fence was in perfect condition before that.
Is this the fence here, along the Legion
Along
property?
the Legion,
Yep, so part of this project, there is some private partnership between the Legion and this developer. There's a new pond going in, so I suspect that anything in that area will be removed anyways for this project. And anything remaining, I'm guessing is probably a private conversation between that developer and the Legion.
Thank you.
Boy, it didn't take long to get the trees removed and the ground moved around.
Yes.
It's going to be, and those are going to be really nice living spaces that are going to be developed there. Yes, sir.
I just want to reiterate that I'm opposed to city funds being used for this, that we are not consistent with all of our developers in town. And just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Any other comments by any other counselors? So much for that. I declare the public hearing is closed at 6 o'clock straight up and entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Roll call.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. That one carried as well, 6-1. Ordinances, Harry J., what's the first one?
Ordinance 15030 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by repealing Chapter 111, Airports and Aircraft, third reading.
I move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion by the council? Any discussion by the public? Since it's our third reading, I didn't anticipate any. Let's call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff.
Yes.
Very good. Next ordinance, please.
Ordinance 15031, amending the City of Marshalltown Code of Ordinances, Chapter 113, Amusements and Recreation, third reading.
I move for approval.
Thank you.
Second, Your Honor.
Very good. Discussion on this one?
This amendment repeals the amusement and recreation permits that are no longer applicable.
And again, third reading. Is there any discussion by the council or public on this one? Roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. Next ordinance.
Ordinance 15032 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by repealing Chapter 120 tree trimmers, second reading.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Any discussion on this one?
Your Honor, this amendment repeals the tree trimmer license requirements to eliminate city involvement in civil complaints against tree contractors because we don't have city staff available for enforcement.
Very good. Any councilor questions or comments before asking for the public comment? Public comment? Roll call.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
That one carried as well. On to the fourth ordinance.
Ordinance 15033 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 58, Vegetation, second reading.
Discussion on this one.
This amendment is going to remove any references to the tree trimmer license, and it also adds permit requirements for property owners that wish to remove a terrace tree, which is done through application by the Parks and Recs Department, and they will evaluate the tree prior to approval.
Thank you. Any,
Move for approval.
Second.
very good. Sorry, I should have asked for that first. Any discussion by the council or by the public? Roll call.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. On to our next item.
Ordinance 15034 to establish the boundaries of election wards and precincts in the City of Marshalltown, Iowa, repealing conflicting ordinances and providing for the effective date of same. This is the second reading, and staff are requesting the waiver of the third reading in order to meet the deadlines from the Secretary of State.
If I read this correctly, I do need to treat it as a public hearing, though, so let's go through those steps. I declare the public hearing is open at 6:04 p.m. Did you get any written comments about it?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comments. Anybody wish to? Time after that, then, for staff review.
Yes, good evening. I'll bring up the maps and not do the whole explanation that I did 3 weeks ago, but just give you kind of the brief overview and focus on areas to draw your attention to that are different. And so we did a worksheet that the Secretary of State provides, and ultimately we are within our threshold of error that we could have for each ward, knowing that it's nearly impossible with census tracts to basically get everybody to be of equal size. And so what we have in total is slightly more population, I think 30-some members going to first ward, 30-some members going to second, and 30-some going to the third ward, with most of those coming from the fourth ward currently. And you can see one of the differences, this is our current map of where we are right now. You'll see the changes in fourth ward where the boundary now comes down to West Nevada Street, I believe that is. And then it extends over further to capture that area that is south of Highway 30, which is really undeveloped at this point, but could be developed. And then you also see Third Ward used to cross a Highway 14. In this proposed map, it does not. Highway 14 really remains that boundary between Ward 3 and Ward 4. And then the final little change is up in this area with between second and first ward. There's some area now that is currently part of first ward that is on the between 3rd Street and 4th Street, which moves into second ward. So fairly minor boundary changes are being proposed. This was developed by our engineering department staff, and then we had Bolton and Mink review the legal descriptions to ensure that they matched what was actually shown on the map. And so the legal descriptions were approved and sent to the county, and then the county reviewed and approved as well, and that's what's in the ordinance before you tonight. And as Alicia said, the Secretary of State's office is on a timeline too. They're asking cities to finish this process as quickly as possible, which is why we've requested the waiving of the second reading, or the third reading, waiving of the third reading to bring this to finality tonight.
Thank you. After staff review comes council comments. Are there any? Hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed at 6:07 p.m. and would solicit a motion to waive the third reading of the ordinance, and then after that to attack the ordinance itself.
We actually have to approve the second reading of the ordinance, and then
Oh.
there's the motion on to waive the third reading on the agenda.
Yeah, like I joked at the last meeting, maybe in 4 years I'll figure this out. I'd solicit a motion to approve the boundaries as proposed in that ordinance.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any further, we've had discussion. Let's take a vote on it.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy.
Yes.
And now, if there's anybody that would like to make a motion to waive the third reading, would be the time to do that.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Lottie,
Discussion on that, Your Honor?
No, we can have a discussion on it, sure.
I would ask that we not waive the third reading, that we allow this to play out. We still meet the timeline set by the state by having the third reading at the next meeting.
Any other discussion? Let's call the roll.
Lottie
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Weirin,
No.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. That, the third reading is waived on the motion to carry on to the next and last of these ordinances and public hearings.
Ordinance 15035, repealing ordinance number 14951, providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in Marshalltown Urban Renewal Area Number 5, second reading.
Anybody wish to move for
So
the?
move, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion.
As a reminder, this is basically removing a TIF district that was created off of 233rd Street, basically for a residential TIF district that never resulted in development. So we are taking it off our books at this point, but leaving the urban renewal area so that if another developer does come in, we have that mechanism already created.
Thanks for that explanation. Is there any comment or are there any questions by the counselors? Any questions or comments by the public? Any reason we shouldn't call the roll?
Thompson.
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Gowdy.
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
That carried as well. Good. On to item K, discussion. I guess I get to read those. The discussions about the impact agreements with YSS. Who is willing to address this one?
Good evening, Mike Tupper, Marshalltown Police Department. So in September of 2020, as you know, this City Council approved funding for a pilot project where the police department would partner with YSS of Marshall County, and we would attempt to change some of the services that we're providing in our community by embedding social workers into the police department. So since that time, we embarked on a pilot project, a 12-month pilot project that this council funded with $150,000. And we have successfully embedded 2 YSS social workers in the police department. And they've been working, the project's been in place since January 1st of 2021. The social workers have been on board since February 1st of 2021. So since that time, and David Hicks will be here next week to give up-to-date stats, but since that time, the social workers have responded to well over 300 calls for service with police officers, and we've been able to provide services for well over 400 people in Marshalltown. So it's been a very successful project. We're coming down towards the end of the 12-month project now, and we've been able to successfully write a federal grant where the city received $206,000 to help keep this program going. This is a project that I think we would all agree that we would like to sustain and see grow at some point. So City Administrator Kinzer has authored a memo that was in your packet, and the recommendation was to consider using $400,000 of American Rescue Plan funding to help maintain this program. And then YSS and the Marshalltown Police Department continue to solicit donations and look for other grant opportunities that will help us sustain the program long term. It costs roughly $150,000 a year to maintain just the 2 social workers, and that's not accounting for increased salaries that we'll probably see this year and other costs as everything in the world is going up with inflation. So we believe that the $400,000 through the ARPA funds and the $206,000 through the federal government will allow us to sustain this program as is for the time being for at least a 2 to 3 year period. And we're hopeful that we'll find additional funding that will allow us to continue the program well into the future. And the ultimate goal would be to hire another social worker down the road at some point so we can expand the hours. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I do want to, my last comment, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've done to support this program. In September of 2020, I came to you and I said we all had an opportunity to do something different and have a positive effect on our community, and you've done that. Mission accomplished. Let's keep it going. Questions?
Before I solicit questions or comments from the council, Bill Martin and I, Councilor Martin and I had the opportunity to be at the library last week to hear not only from the staff that are doing this, from the many police officers that showed up in support of it, to hear about the unanimous police support that you have from your good force here, and also to hear from one of the young people that benefited from, I think, the first call, where we had social workers able to respond and provided her a lot of help. That was really pretty gripping stuff. What I'd like you to address is what kind of calls are you getting? Are you having to field from around the state from other police departments?
Oh, we're getting a lot of questions from other communities around the state of Iowa. and actually in the Midwest about what we're doing and how it's working and how we're funding it and why we're doing it, all those good questions. So it's difficult for me to tell people what might work for their community. What I can tell you is what works for Marshalltown. I've been here for 10 years, and I think I have a good understanding what the problems are and how we can address some of those problems. But we are receiving a lot of interest from other organizations and communities. David Hicks and I just presented for the Office of Drug Control Policy last week to talk about our program, and we take every opportunity we can get to talk to state representatives about funding programs like this, because there are other communities that are trying to do similar things. So it's been a good program. And to your comment about the police officers, so City Clerk Hunter used to work in the police station, as you know, and if I proposed free pizza and donuts every day, we couldn't get 100% agreement on that, right? But somehow we have everybody behind this program. So I think that we have a lot of smart people working in the police department, much smarter than me. And I think that shows you the really good stuff that we're doing with this program when we can get people behind it like that.
Thank you. Any other, any council comments or questions for discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
this question isn't for Chief Tupper, but for the city administrator. Under the ARPA funding, this qualifies as the mental health money?
I'd have to go back and review my PowerPoint originally to figure out where it was, but it was, I think, like there was funding for it basically as a critical intervention type of program, I believe.
And there's no cap on that category, right?
No, you can allocate
Okay.
these funds to whatever allowed uses and whatever amounts that are desired.
All right.
One point that I do want to make is this is a necessary conversation at this meeting because our current agreement with YSS expires on December 31st of this year. So if you would like to move forward with this, we would be bringing an agreement for basically funding through 2026 or committing that to the December 27th meeting to finalize that and keep this program going beyond this first calendar year.
So tonight you need staff direction to get that ready for the next meeting.
Correct.
All right.
I would move that we, I guess, write the agreement, approve a resolution. Bring forward a resolution. Thank you, Mr. Shell.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
I should, I suppose, invite public comment as well. Is there any of that? Let's call the roll.
Hoop,
Yes. Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy.
Yes.
Very good. Staff has its direction. I know from attending those meetings, and actually there was a celebration too about this over at was it Van Gogh's or the Tannen facility, where some of the same things were discussed, that the real need is after midnight. And right now with two people, you don't have the ability to have enough social work coverage, but that for future generations and future years here, if we're going to be the template around the state, that would be helpful. So thank you for that. We are now at that stage of inviting public comment before we go into closed sessions. So at this time, I need to read another caveat that goes something like this. Members of the public may make comments on any items not in the agenda during this time. Approach the mic, state your name and address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes unless longer is authorized by me. Direct your comments to the mayor and council as a whole, and the councilors and mayor may not engage in any discussion or debate on items raised by members of the public, and no action may be taken on those items raised in public comments in order to comply with open meetings laws. The microphone is open. Hello, sir.
My name is Burdette Bringleson, 402 Sunset Lane, Marshalltown, Iowa. And I would like to address the Honorable Mayor Joel and the honorable members of the council on some history that goes way back. The fact is, I'm probably twice as old as any of you in this room, so you probably won't remember what developed when I had next to Warden Farm in 1956. That's many, many years ago. And at that time, I hired Thompson Willis, electrical engineers and development engineers, to put a preliminary plat to the Marshalltown City Council. And after studying it and the engineer's presentation, why, they approved it. And then the final approval became after that. And that was approved, including the storm sewer that was required and needed for the purposes of getting rid of the water. Now, I passed around sheets to all of you, and I know it would be unfair of you to think that you could read through that, but I've tried to hurriedly put together in writing so that you could look back on it, and I'll just summarize so I won't take up your valuable time tonight. But, you know, when they developed south of, like, the Thunderbird, and you probably remember that, why, they dumped all of that storm sewer onto our development, the Ward project. And then they went it in and out at 7 Westwood Drive, which they should have run it right straight down, shorter and everything, but there was a hill there, so they had deeper, and they just run it in there, and that caused it to become a 100-year floodplain. So when I built 7 Westwood, then I knew it was 100 years, so I raised it so it'd be above it. But 9 Westwood was built before that, and it was not a 100-year floodplain because they didn't do the south, develop in the north and dumped it onto our streets there. And so I make point of that because it's important that that you know. Now, when I put in the preliminary plat and the final plat and was approved by the City Council of Marshalltown, why, it included all of the city sewers, storm sewer, the curbs and gutters, the hard surface streets, and the development costs, and then donated all of it, including the land that the streets set on, to the city of Marshalltown, which was, I knew that that would be charged to me, and hopefully that it would generate millions and millions of dollars worth of taxes to the city of Marshalltown. And of course, all those years, I've paid a few million myself in properties. And so I'm just trying to summarize this, and you can read through it, because it's really important, I think, that you realize the history of what happened. When I annexed this into town, we knew and we expected that it would develop a lot of tax dollars into the coffers of Marshalltown. And then a couple, 3 years ago, why, the city asked me to cut a ditch across my lot on the, just behind the Thunderbird, or the other restaurant now,
Calvin Rocket.
temporarily. And I said, okay, you know, and so that ditch is still there, of course. And then that rendered that lot, if they're going to leave it there, the lot is worth nothing. And I had a buyer for it, and they thought that the city would probably do that because I paid for the original storm sewer, and then I paid again, and then I'm paying, they're charging me, I think it's $48 and some cents every month besides, plus I'm taxed for it, so I'm paying for it, and the building is empty, and of course the lots are sitting there, and so the property becomes worthless the way it is. And I've already paid enough taxes that if I'd have given it away, I'd have been better off years ago. And so that's the reason I respectfully request your review and consideration of this very, very small little strip of storm sewer to take care of that cul-de-sac, which no fault of my own. It was dumped onto me, and of course you don't have to ask permission, you know, to do a thing like that, but I mean, when people develop, and then to put salt on the wound a little more, why, Thunderbird asked that the standard flow of water was over their lot. And they wanted to put a berm in so that that wouldn't happen. And I wanted to be a good guy and go along with progress. And I said, okay. So they put the berm up, and that stopped the flow of water. All of the south development and all of the north development, and whatever, mine was already taken care of. And that's the story on it. And so it's just been a real pain for me. And now, if they don't put that little bit of they appropriate millions of dollars in storm sewer around the town, and here I've paid for it several times, and then every month for years, they're probably charging me $48 in addition to that. It just doesn't add up at all. And so I just hope, and I respectfully request that you consider a compassionate thought on this land and this obligation that really is up to the city to do. And I think I've probably used up my time. I'm sorry, Honorable Mayor and Council, but thank you for letting me present a summary. I didn't cover it very good, but I got it in writing to you, and I certainly wouldn't expect you to, analyze all that in that much of a time. But like I said, my age is up there, so I remember all these things, and you're all too young to have lived when this all took place. So thank you, God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Burdette. I can acknowledge we did receive the writing, so we'll take that into account. Thank you. Any other discussion while the discussion mic is open?
Hi, Sarah Rosenblum, Marshalltown Library Director. Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'd like to take a couple of minutes and recognize a library supporter who passed away recently. Many of you knew George Taylor. George and his family moved to Marshalltown in 1978 when George became president of a local bank, but little did folks know what a supporter of Marshalltown that George would become. He didn't wait to be asked. George just jumped in with his whole heart in helping Marshalltown. From working with the Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, his church, helping to recruit folks to city council. I believe he helped with Councilwoman Warman and former Mayor Lawrence. Supporter of the police department. He worked with Martha Allen Ty on the high school auditorium and the transformation of the Embers into senior living. Many of George's good works were done quietly, but I want to recognize him today for his support of the library. On my very first day 10 years ago, George came to my office to meet me and to invite me to Rotary. Little did I know how important George would become to me in the library. George, along with Bill Bestman, set up an endowment for the library. He underwrote our mini golf event at the library and helped out with many other donations for events. He became a great advocate for the library and sang our praises. George loved Marshalltown, and I knew he had a special heart in his special spot in his heart for the library. He will be sorely missed by our community and his library family. And George was such a lovely man and a good person and truly loved Marshalltown. And I just like to recognize when these people pass, it meant so much to the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. He was a great Rotarian as well. And John Fink had the same sort of a reaction that you did, Sarah, to him. And it was nice to see John was one of the pallbearers, and it was taking George to the Rotary Club meetings. The town, and I know the Rotary Club is going to miss George. Any other, yes?
Yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I did want to mention that next meeting, December 27th, is the final council meeting for 3 of our council members, Councilmember Martin, Councilmember Weirin, and Councilmember Gowdy, and 16 years of service for Councilmember Weirin and 8 each for Martin and Gowdy. And so we'll be, after the council meeting, we still have to hold the meeting, we will be having a reception at the Coliseum to thank them for their years of service and to do a little recognition. And so I just wanted to make sure that was out there right now to put that on your calendar. I can't put an exact time on it, but sometime probably after 6 o'clock. And we'll invite the public to join us there. And so a more formal announcement will go out this week.
So I thought it was a noon meeting. This is a regular time meeting.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. It would have been pretty early.
Well, I think the Mayor Pro Tem will be presiding at that meeting, so she'll be responsible for how quickly the party starts. Very good. Thanks for mentioning that, too. And I really will sorely miss that meeting. Darn it. Okay. Seeing nobody else rising for discussion, let's entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to section 21.5 of the Iowa Code to discuss strategy with counsel in matters where litigation. Oh, we're doing personnel. I jumped ahead. We're doing personnel first. Different subsection too, actually. It's paragraph sub I of that code section, talking about competency of individuals whose hiring performance discharge may be necessary to be discussed to prevent needless and irreparable injury to reputation. And that person has requested the closed session. We do have an attorney-client relationship with Roger Sell, who is here and appointed by ordinance that I don't need to name by number. And the council may take action following the closed session if recommended by council. And so as soon as the doors are closed, do I need to turn the mic? Do I need to turn the mic off too, though?
We need a motion to go into.
Oh, let's, okay, yep.
So moved.
There we go. Is there a
Second.
There we go. Roll call.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin. Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Very good. we're back in open session. I guess that requires another roll call.
Gowdy,
Here.
Hoop,
Here.
Isom,
Here.
Lottie
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
Weirin.
Here.
Very good. Anybody want to go into closed session again?
Wait, do we have to make a resolution?
Oh, we have to. Right. That's all right. Does anybody move to direct staff to proceed as was discussed in closed
So
session?
move.
Second.
Roll call.
Lottie
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom. Isom,
Oh, yes.
We're going to separate you guys. We are going to
Yeah.
probably change
Yeah, I
how
can't
everybody
multitask.
sits, by the way. All right, good. Now
I
let's.
request a seating change.
Does anybody want to move to go into closed session under 21.5 subsection 1 paragraph C to talk about things that might be at our disadvantage in litigation involving value of property, knowing that we have an attorney-client relationship with Lynch Dallas on this issue?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Gowdy,
Here.
Hoop.
Here.
It'd be a yes, yeah.
Here, yes. Are we here?
Isom,
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
Martin,
I didn't
Yes.
get that right.
Thompson,
Good.
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Very good. Now we do roll call again? No?
Thompson,
Here.
Weirin.
Here.
Very good. And is there a motion to
I move
authorize?
that the city move forward with the direction given to legal counsel as discussed in the closed session.
Second.
Roll call?
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn? We are adjourned. I don't think we need a motion for that.
That wasn't so bad, was it?
She's still on the phone.
I th-